Here is the code for first come first serve scheduling algorithm. The code is written in C language and I am compiling the code in the online C compiler programs.com. I'll explain the code and the output here. First header file is declared. Next, inside the main program, we have declared two variables n and I. N is the number of process we are going to consider for first come first serve scheduling algorithm. I is the variable for using in for loop. And next, the other variables which are declared here are burst time, waiting time, turnaround time, and also we'll be calculating total waiting time, which is initialized to 0, and total turnaround time, which is also initialized to 0. Now in line 8, we are going to get the number of process from the user. So when I run, it will ask for the number of process we are going to use in first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So I am getting it as three processes. So using the scanf, we got the number of process. Next, for this three process, we have to get the burst time for every process. Burst time is nothing but the time required for execution of a particular process. So one by one process, we'll be getting the burst time using the for loop. So for the first process, we have to enter. Follow the line number 14. For the first process, we have to enter the burst time. We'll get the burst time from the user. For example, the burst time I'm entering as 10. And for the next process, I'm giving as 20. And for the third process, I'm giving as 30. So the concept of first come first serve scheduling is the process which is going to come first will be executed first. In the order which it is coming or arriving, in the same way it will be executed. So the first process is executed 10 times, and the process 2 for 20 and process 3 for 30. And waiting time and turnaround time for the corresponding process will be calculated. I will show in the code how it is being calculated. We are just we are assigning waiting time for the 0th process as 0, right? Because the first process, which is nothing but 0, that will be waiting time will be 0 because it is going to come as the first process and it is not going to wait for any process. It will be executed first. So waiting time for the 0th process here means P1. That is assigned as 0. So waiting time for P1 is 0. Next, we are going to calculate for next process, which is I is equal to 1, which is nothing but P2. To calculate the waiting time for P2, waiting time of the previous process plus the burst time of the previous process. So in case of P2, waiting time of the previous process is 0 and the burst time of the previous process is 10. So totally, the waiting time of P2 is 10. Similarly, when we calculate for P3, the waiting time of the previous process is 10 and the burst time of the previous process is 20. Sum of this two, 20 plus 30 will be 10 will be 30. So that is how the waiting time will be calculated. I am repeating again. To for the first process, we will assign the waiting time as 0, and for the next process, waiting time equal to waiting time of the previous process plus the waiting time of the previous process, that is I minus 1. In such a way, waiting time is calculated. Now, to calculate the turnaround time, so the formula for calculating the turnaround time is turnaround time equal to burst time of the current process plus the waiting time of the current process, right? So see here, for the turnaround time, burst time of the current process is 10 and the waiting time is 0. So 10 plus 0, 10. And similarly for P2, 20 plus 10, 30, and for P3, 30 plus 30, that is 60. So turnaround time of the ith process will be burst time of the ith process plus the waiting time of the ith process. Whereas in the waiting time, we have assigned the 0th process waiting time equal to 0. So only we have started from I equal to 1. Whereas in the turnaround time, we are starting the loop from 0, from the first process itself we are starting, so it is 0. The index of P1 is 0. So we are starting from 0 and we are calculating the turnaround time. After finishing calculating the waiting time and turnaround time, we are going to calculate the total waiting time and total turnaround time. So to calculate total waiting time equal to total waiting time plus waiting time, right? And turnaround time is equal to turnaround time plus turnaround time. That means sum of all the waiting time and sum of all the turnaround time. Next is to print the values. Here we are printing this table actually with slash t, giving a spacing. We are printing all the values which has been calculated so far. And finally, we are calculating the average waiting time. Average waiting time is nothing but the total waiting time what we have calculated divided by number of process. Similarly, total turnaround time what we have calculated divided by total number of process. Here total number of process is 3, as we have 3 process, and that average has been printed here. This is how the first come first serve scheduling algorithm been executed.